Currently today we are driving in St. John's, Arizona. We're only a few miles from the border with New Mexico. Now I must say, St. John's, Arizona, I've been here for a few hours. Not much going on around here. Population is about 4,000, if that. But this must be the only city in the entire nation that I can think of where an 8-year-old committed a double homicide. So we're going to go back to November 5th of 2008. It's about 5 p.m. and Apache County receives a call from someone who is stating that there is a body lying in the doorway of a home that we're about to go visit right now. So the detective arrives with the Apache County Sheriff's Office, and there's a teenager and an 8-year-old kid, and she knows the 8-year-old kid. It's Christian Romero. She would see him like playing outside, jumping up and down on a trampoline. He would always wave hi to her as she left for work. So she pulls up, and immediately she sees somebody lying on the ground. At this time now, he's already dead. His name is Timothy Romans. He's 39 years of age. So she steps into the home to clear it, to make sure nobody else is in there, and she sees another body sprawled on the staircase there. That would be the boy's dad. He's 29 years old. His name is Vincent Romero. Now, immediately they secured the scene, and when they pulled up, when they're talking to this Christian, this 8-year-old kid, he's not crying, but he's like panicked. But it's more of like a whining crying, like, I don't want to do my homework. Why can't I go outside? So he's on the verge of tears, but he ain't crying. And immediately they take him in for questioning. At first, of course, you're 8 years old. You're not a suspect in any kind of a crime. And they're worried that whoever this person is that is responsible for killing these two men, that they're somewhere out in the county or in town even. So they're talking to this kid, and they're saying, okay, can you tell us if anybody in the neighborhood didn't like your dad? And he had referenced that there is these two people who he called smokers in a blue car, that they didn't like his dad. Now, there could be a couple different instances where, there's people who do drugs or people who smoke cigarettes in the neighborhood. They're driving a blue car. Not really sure. But we're going to be making a left here. Got to use my blinker, of course, because I'm not trying to get a ticket in Apache County. So I'm going to pause the story here. I'm going to briefly just drive by the home where the murders occurred. Now, this neighborhood, we're looking at it right now, and it looks pretty much like a normal neighborhood. I don't get any bad vibes, but then again, what do I know? I don't live out here. But if you see that 2-story blue house on the corner, that would be where the murders occurred. Let me see if I get a better view of this house. Yeah, right there. That is where the murder took place. Okay, let's turn around and we'll continue the story. So continuing with the story, so Christian's at the sheriff's office, and they're questioning him about what happened and what he's seen. He said he came home and he seen both of them dead in the house, and he ran and called, told his neighbor, and then the teen called 911. Now, as they're talking to him, he's not sad. He's not crying that his dad is dead. It's hard to describe his voice. It's almost like there's some kind of cherubic elation in his voice. Now, I'm not saying he's happy, but he damn sure ain't sad. And they're, again, asking him, who could have done this? Who didn't like your father? Who didn't like Timothy Romans? Now, Timothy Romans, he was 39. he had rented a room from the family. And so as they're talking, the sheriffs, they're getting a bad feeling. And the bad feeling started before the interrogation. So the wife of Timothy Romans was on the phone with him during the murders. And she said that he had told her that he was waiting for Vincent to go grab a part for a vehicle that they were working on. And that in the background, he could hear Vincent scolding his son because he had grabbed his .22 caliber rifle from underneath his bed. And he said something about, "Why are you touching my gun? Don't touch that. And, get over here." And then Timothy was kind of giving like a play-by-play. And then he either got off the phone with her or told her to hang on. And then that was it. So the police at this time now, they know this. But they still don't think that this kid killed him. Because he's 8 years old. You know what I mean? So they're like, okay, they're trying to see if this kid actually killed him. So during the interrogation, he says, there's a part of the interrogation where he says, "I kicked him." No, excuse me. The body shook and then I kicked it.
This is the truth. This is the truth? Yeah. I fired it at him once. He was on the ground, and then I reloaded it just in case someone else was going to come and try to get me.
And they immediately figure out that the wife was correct about her assertions of this 8-year-old committing the crime. Now, let me say this about the rifle. A .22 caliber rifle, it's a single action rifle, so you would have to load a bullet and then shoot it and then take the shell out each time you wanted to take a shot. So this kid shot his dad, reloaded, shot him again, and then in the background, his wife can hear something about, "Hey, Tim, come over here. I need help with my dad. My dad's hurt." Something along those lines. So this kid, 8 years old, premeditatedly, knowing what he did, killed, I'm not going to say the premeditation was with his dad, but for Timothy Romans, I mean, holy crap. So you got a kid now who you basically just kind of, and he doesn't have any attorney. He doesn't have any legal counsel. But so he confesses to the crime. And what do we do with an 8-year-old who's just murdered 2 people? So I think originally they took him to a facility in Phoenix. And then later on, they would take him to the juvenile hall in Apache County right here. And now, again, how do you charge this kid who's just killed not only his dad, but the friend? Now, as social workers during, even before the trial, because there's technically no trial yet, because there's still, this is new to us. So one of the, childhood counselor people or whatever, they're talking to him. And so they said, "Why'd you shoot your dad? Why'd you shoot your dad?" And to this day, there's really no, there was really no reason or motive given to what took place. But Christian did say that he would get spanked by his dad. He would get spanked a lot. And he said something about his dad told him that he would get spanked once for every day he forgot to bring in some kind of homework from school or a progress report, something like that. And he also spoke to the counselor that he had kept some kind of a ledger or a diary of all the times that he had been spanked. And that supposedly he had been spanked 1,000 times. And so he decided that day, because he knew when he was going to get home, he knew he was going to get a spanking. And basically he said, "Not today." He said, "Not today." I'm not terribly sure if there was ever any history of any kind of abuse. I didn't see any, but there's not too much to this story. This isn't like a salacious story where, a woman was sleeping around with her husband and then she planned and plotted and all this and that. No, this is an 8-year-old who you would think most 8-year-olds register murder and death and killing, but this one didn't. And, there was an FBI statistic that I read that from 1975 to 2002, there was like 60 some odd cases of children under the age of 11 or 12 who have killed their parents. And of all those cases, all of them had abuse as the motive for the killing, but 2. Only 2 of them were the parents considered true victims, whatever that means. So now prosecutors got to decide what's best for this dude. Now, his mom wants custody of him. The grandmother wants custody of him. But then if you give them custody, is there something wrong in the family? So long story short, wrapping this up. So what they did was they put this dude into some kind of a group home. And they put him on what they call intensive supervised probation that was going to last until the time he turned 18 years of age. Now, during the time of the probation, he was basically held under a microscope. He was having to constantly go to counseling sessions. He was constantly asked, to check in. Where are you going? What are you doing? I'm pretty sure he had to let them search his belongings at whatever group home that he would be at. And I know later on he got some kind of foster family. So I didn't find anything about any kind of problems after this murder that, like that he had violated his probation and he went to juvenile hall. Nothing. He completed his probation. There's nothing online that says that he went to jail for anything. And when he was 18, his record was sealed and he was off the hook. Now, law enforcement and officials pertaining to this case believe that it was possible that Christian was able to use the rifle and knew how to use the rifle because he had gone hunting with his dad on numerous occasions. And because of the court and the best determination for the outcome of this case, they felt that it was best for Christian not to be charged with his dad's murder right here. And so they didn't charge him with Vincent Romero's murder. They just charged him with negligent homicide in the death of Timothy Romans. And so the question remains, and some people are going to ask, what's the difference between a spanking and abuse? And, I am a believer in spankings. I think that, as long as you don't take it overboard, I personally, if I had a kid and they acted up, I would spank them. But, they get to an age where you stop, where it's like you've already spanked them when they were like 2 or 3. So you don't have to do it when they're 8 or 10 or 12. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who agree with spankings and a lot who don't. But this man definitely did not deserve to get murdered and to get cut down by your own kid. And that kid now at the recording of this video, he's already in his mid-20s. He's already 25, 26. And he has to live with the fact that he killed 2 people. It's one thing to kill. If and the thing is, he's never been, as I can see, he was never psychologically evaluated before this crime, and I don't think he's ever been diagnosed with anything. So he could be a normal, well-adjusted adult. I didn't really do a hard search on him online because I just didn't. But I mean, I didn't hear anything about him committing any more crimes where he's like, oh yeah, this kid did this, did that. So I don't know. It's all bad all around. All bad all around. So rest in peace to Mr. Romero here. And, we'll see if that kid who's no longer really a kid, I mean, who knows? Only time will tell, right? All right, guys, I'm out of here. Peace out.